Boom, boom. Hey. Hey, Bridget. Hey, West Coast Wednesday, y'all. Hey, Sean T, what up, champ? Supposed to have an interview tonight. What's up, Bridget? There you go. Hey, let's go. I got you, Ness. We got DJ Nasty NES from Seattle. Y'all know what it is, man. We got an exclusive interview tonight. My man coming all the way from Seattle. And there he is, man, on Famous Hip Hop Radio, Cali Made Radio, Wednesday. What's up, champion?
Can you see me, man? Because on my phone, I'm like, I can see my plaques, but I can't see me.
You got to back up a little bit. And then
back up, okay, hold on.
Like turn the camera down, then you'll be straight.
Let's see. Hold on a second.
Gotcha.
If I do it like, how if I do it like that? Will that work? No, that's not gonna work.
Nah.
Oh, hold on a second.
Just move it back a little bit.
Move it back? Okay.
So I can see your
like
face.
That? No, no, I think like this.
Tilt it towards your face. Can you see your face? There you go.
You know what? I'll just hold the camera. How if I just hold it? Maybe if I add more light. Let me see. Hey, we're on live, right? So everyone's seeing it live. Now, that didn't help. Did it help?
But
Did that help?
Good. Yeah, that's good right there, bro.
You sure?
If you want to.
Now I feel like I'm shining.
Yeah, you got that light behind you from the plaque.
I'm gonna turn that.
All them gold
plaques,
like, you know.
I know, man. I'm sorry, man. My bad. That's like 40 years worth of work right there, man. See, look, all that. Yep. And then all that.
So let's just start right there, man. Tell me about some of the plaques that you get and what you're getting them for. Knowing that you're a DJ, like for instance, I see Lauryn Hill back there. What was that for?
Oh, well, you know, back in the days, you know, I used to promote records for, not only did I promote, but I also had a radio show. So I was exclusively the guy in Seattle who played the brand new Lauryn Hill, the brand new Fugees, Criss Cross, all that stuff that was on Rough House, played it before anyone else had the record, you know. So that's what I was pretty much known for in Seattle, the guy who was the first one to play all the new rap stuff in Seattle. And I guess maybe over the whole United States, too. You know, not many stations were supporting a lot of hip-hop back then like they are now, you know. So, yeah, so I've worked a lot of artists, man. Big Pun, Wu-Tang Clan, Lauryn Hill, who else? Dana Dane, Alexander O'Neal, Pebbles. Gosh, man, so many. But
everybody.
The biggest one that I'm really proud of is Sir Mix-a-Lot. Because that's what opened the door for me, was Sir Mix-a-Lot.
So how long were you DJing before that whole situation with Mix-a-Lot came along, when you were just promoting records?
Well, I actually started my radio show in 1980. Were you even born yet? Were you born yet in 1980?
We the same age, I think. How old are you?
Oh, I got to tell you. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be a big
right
60. I'm going to be 60 like in 2 weeks. How about you?
Oh, okay. You got me by 10.
Hey, but that's a compliment, man. So you're saying I look 50. That's good.
Yeah, you look good, brother. You keep yourself together. I ain't mad at you.
Well, you know, I have Photoshop, so I'm photoshopping this live feed right now, so it makes me look younger. But yeah, I started on radio in 1980. And Mix-a-Lot came on board with me. I I met him around 1983. But check this out. All this time, I didn't know we went to the same high school. Prior to all this, I was 2 years older than him, but we went to the same high school. But I didn't really get to know him till around 1983. And
Right.
then 1985 is when Sir Mix-a-Lot, guy by the name of Greg Jones, Ed Locke, and yours truly, we formed the record label Nasty Mix. I was the Nasty, and Mix-a-Lot was the Mix, and the rest is history, man.
Wow. Wow. So how did you end up reconnecting with Sir Mix-a-Lot after all that time, not even knowing you went to high school with him?
Well,
Who
he
introduced
called
you
me on
guys
the
again?
he actually called me on the request lines when I was on the radio and introduced himself to me. But he described himself as Anthony Ray, the computerized DJ, aka Sir Mix-a-Lot. And I was like, really? Because back in those days, if you're a rapper, you didn't come from Seattle. You came only from New York, the Bronx.
Right.
So, I was kind of tripping out, like, all right, well, I guess so. So Ed Locke and Ed kind of forced me to go to the boys club where Mix-a-Lot DJ'd at every weekend. And we went there, and it's like the heart. You sure you want to go check out this guy? But you know what? That was one of the most memorable nights of my life. When I walked in there, the whole place got real quiet. And then I saw him on there DJing, rapping, and he had the crowd under control. If you weren't dancing, he would cuss you out in front of everybody on the mic. And I said, "Oh, I like this guy." And then I found out that he was a fan of my radio show too. And back then, my ego was kind of big. It was that kind of ego. I had a big ego, and I said, I'm
Yeah.
going to put that ego aside. I'm going to invite him to, if I could play his music, on my show off a cassette tape. And this is before anybody was even really talking about playing local music. So I decided, he let me play some of his stuff on the radio. And we noticed that all his stuff was getting more requests than, let's just say, more requests than a Madonna record, a Michael Jackson record, a Luther Vandross record. And that's kind of how it all started. And then the record label came about, and years later we went, both albums went gold and platinum, which is kind of unusual because we were out of Seattle. We weren't from the Bronx, New York. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy that, kept it West Coast, man.
So we got two questions right here. What high school was that you guys went to?
Oh, man. So the first high school I went to, I'm not going to lie, I went to Seattle Prep because my mom wanted me to go there, and
Yeah.
Catholic school. She wanted me to be a good boy and go in the army
Yeah.
and make a career. But, I was kind of a rebellious kid. So I actually got kicked out of Seattle Prep, and I got bused. It was during the time where it was called, I think, was it called segregation, where if you lived in the black neighborhood, you had to go to school in the white neighborhood, or vice versa.
Oh, you got bused.
So I got bused to Roosevelt High School, but and we just had our 40th anniversary, and I love Roosevelt High School, man. I have some great memories there, and so Mix-a-Lot and I both went to Roosevelt High School, and I graduated. Almost didn't, but my mom, before she passed away when I was 18, and before she died, she had cancer. Her last wish was to see me graduate, and that's when I stopped hanging out downtown, stopped getting into fights, stopped doing all the bad stuff, and I actually hit the books, and I read, studied, and I passed. I didn't pass by a high grade, but I passed with like a 2.3 or something like that. But I graduated, and that was the last memory she had before she died, and that I graduated.
Wow. Okay. That's a good story then. Another person said, it looked like the same person. The Source magazine
Okay.
called you the West Coast equivalent to DJ Red Alert. What do you think
Oh
about
man, when they said that, because a lot of the young kids don't know who Red Alert is, but he is a legend in New York, the home of hip hop, and to be compared to someone like that, really means a lot to me because when I first started out, I didn't get into this, you know, trying to become a big star or big famous or anything like that. I did it because I loved the music. It was so brand new that I loved it, and I really believed that 20 years from 1980 it was going to be the biggest thing in the world, and I was correct. And Red Alert was one of the guys I looked up to back in the days in New York. He's a legend. Another guy in New York was Mr. Magic.
Yeah.
I looked up to too. He passed away. And I actually named my website and my radio show after him, called Rap Attack. Yeah.
Okay.
So New York played a huge influence on me.
What was it like when New York started paying attention to you, and what time was that? And how did you get to that point? Because Seattle's wasn't even known for anything back then. So how did you guys gain so much attention out there?
Well, because I was the only one that was playing a Run DMC record, a LL Cool J record, a Fat Boys record, Rap and Dude record, and they knew that. And whenever I played a record in retail would react, and their records would sell off the hook, man.
Right.
So that's how I got known. And when I really knew I got accepted by New York was they used to have these new music seminar. If you watch Straight Outta Compton, that's where Ice Cube got jumped in the hotel. He was attending the new music seminar. I was there, and I actually got invited by, at the time, Source Magazine was the magazine, and they invited me to be on a panel. And I go, whoa, really? You sure you want me? Me? I'm from Seattle, man. I'm nobody. They go, yeah, we want you on there. And then, man, next thing I know, I'm sitting next to all these legends next to me. I was like, whoa, and that's when I kind of knew I was accepted. And when they would invite me up to MTV, and I would hang out with Fab Five Freddy, Dr. Dre, and Ed Lover, and they actually came to Seattle and did a story on Nasty Mix Records.
Oh,
and that's when I kind of felt validated. Yeah, it was really cool, man. It was like, man, when I was on MTV Rap, I was like, whoa, walking through the airport, and people go, "You're that guy. You're him, right?" I go, "Who? Fresh Kid Ice?" No, that's not me. That's from the 2 Live Crew. Wrong guy. No. I used to get that all the time. They say Asians look alike. Well, I don't think him and I look alike, but yeah, that's when it started. It's kind of cool, because I am one of the first, or probably the first Asian in hip hop, not knowing that I was going to be that, and I'm Filipino, and I'm really proud, to
You're Filipino, right?
I'm Pinoy, man. How about you, man? Where you from? You from Philippines?
No, but I just talked to a guy that's out there right now.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Tell him to overnight some Filipino food, man. You'll love it.
Yeah, he said he ain't never coming back. He retired, and he said, I'm out there for good, and that's it.
Oh, he's actually in the Philippines?
He's in the Philippines. I'm doing a documentary on an old school group called Black Ice, who's related to me, my father and my uncles. So one of the guys that was their manager, he lives out there now. But I was just doing a Zoom chat with him, and he's in the Philippines.
So you should go there once the COVID-19 settles and everything. You should go there. You probably won't come back to the States either, because the dollar goes so far out there, man. And then I can tell the lady's gonna love you, man. You look like you look like The Rock, like Dwayne Johnson, man. They're gonna love you, man.
Hey, that's what I hear. That you go over there and they treat you like, and that's kind of what he said the other day. He said they bring me my food, they bring me whatever I need. I don't have to do anything. He said it's not like I'm asking to do it. That's just the culture of how they treat their men and stuff like that. So he said, I'm happy, I'm good, I'm never coming back. So,
well, I'll tell you, here's my secret. I'm on my second marriage, and I never really dated Filipino women at all until now. And I've got the best wife in the world, man. Everything you just said, how they treat you, that's how she treats me, man. So you go to Phil. You know what? We'll go together, man. Okay.
Yeah. I need to go, man.
We'll film your documentary.
Yeah, I'm trying to see the world. It's a whole lot out there, and I've always heard about. I have another friend of mine that went out there, and she's been working out there and doing different things, and you just don't know the other opportunities that you have across the water until you go over there. So,
All right, where you from? Where are you from anyway?
I'm from I'm from LA.
Oh, are you there right now?
No, I'm in Albuquerque right now. New
Albuquerque, New
Mexico.
York, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, one of my best friends lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. What made you move out there?
I went to school out here, and then I ended up opening. I have a chicken and waffles restaurant out here, and then
Really?
we've been doing that about 9 years. So I just incorporated everything out here. So we got the radio, we got the restaurant, and we just do a lot of
Oh,
stuff. And we just, I go back and forth to LA all the time and do different things like the documentary and different stuff. So, I'm
oh,
moving
well, we
around,
got
brother.
we got to hook up. We definitely got to hook up. And aside from Filipino food and Chinese food, one of my favorite food is chicken and waffles. So we're gonna get along really well.
Hey, that's what everybody said. They said you should have led the conversation off with chicken and waffles. We would have had a lot more to talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
So when Mix-a-Lot started, let me ask you. You said you started playing this music and people started, vibing to it. Was it the that fast rap he was doing? Where he was
Well,
like sped up?
the first one that he did that got a lot of attention. I don't know if you remember. It was called Square Dance Rap,
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
talking about.
yeah, it sounded like the Smurf, like the Chipmunk,
Yeah,
and yeah, he got so many calls on the request line, and once I don't know if you remember KDAY in LA, the original KDAY.
yeah,
Once they started playing it,
right.
man, our records started selling,
Yeah,
and then we had another song on the album called Buttermilk Biscuits, which was similar to that
yeah,
people liked, but Mix-a-Lot didn't want to get stereotyped as that, like Nucleus.
yeah.
Every song you hear from Nucleus sounds like the
Similar.
Chipmunk.
Yeah,
You didn't want to do that.
yeah. We heard
But
we heard it on K Day. I interviewed Greg Mack, and he
oh,
kind of
word,
spoke.
yeah.
Yeah, he kind of spoke up on the same thing about getting different music and being able to be the first ones. Because I remember hearing it on K Day for the first time, Buttermilk Biscuit, Square Dance Rap, and all
Mhm.
that. But I didn't
Yeah,
know
even
who. I didn't
yeah,
even know when he transitioned and went to just rapping regular. I didn't even realize it was him afterwards.
oh, so so I guess what changed all that was because I really thought where. So let me ask you this: where is the biggest Broadway in the whole wide world? Where would that be? Do you think?
The biggest Broadway,
Yeah, if you think of Broadway, the biggest Broadway.
New York.
Yeah. So I
Right.
figured. I said, okay, we got this song called Posse on Broadway, man. I bet you if we put that out, we'll get play. New York's gonna support us, you know,
Yeah.
because New York at that time they won't play you unless you're from New York, straight up. Uh, uh, the only stations that really supported us were the college stations, uh, Chuck Chill Out, Hank Love, those guys supported our records, but all the main stations wouldn't support us. And I really thought Posse on Broadway was going to hit big in New York because they had the biggest Broadway at the
Right.
time. But it kind of worked opposite. Every other city that had a Broadway, it hit. Even Philadelphia, it hit because we actually got flown to Philadelphia to perform in Philadelphia. Not only do a show for the radio station Power 99, but we were on a TV show called Dance Party USA. And I was on there. I was like, whoa. That was like, to me, it was like the next best thing to Soul Train was
Yeah.
to be on Dance Party USA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that
I
was in
remember that
Philly.
show.
You remember? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that show.
So that's when things really changed
So
when Posse on Broadway came.
that was kind of a correlation that you were forward thinking like that about thinking about, what's the biggest Broadway. But did you even have in your mind that other states had Broadways too?
Well, I knew it. I knew, in my opinion, I knew every city had a Martin Luther King.
Right.
Because in the song it talks about that. But
right.
when you say Broadway, I automatically thought of New York. And I remember even being into seminars in New York when the actual DJs there would tell me straight up in front of millions of people that Mix-a-Lot's not going to hit. It'll only hit in Seattle.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What's in Seattle? Just horses and rain." And I go, "Nah, I don't think so, man." But
yeah.
you know, and we were trying to shop a deal, Ed Locke and I, and we just kept getting turned down, you know, and so we did. I guess thanks to stations like KDAY and Macola Records, that kind of what helped launch Nasty Mix Records. You know, Macola Records was the label, all like Egyptian Lover, Rodney O, Uncle Jam's Army. They all got distributed to Macola. But one thing,
did they reach out to you guys, or did you guys find them?
You know what? I wasn't even part of that deal. Ed Locke did all that, but I gotta tell you, they are very well known for selling product behind our backs. Because if you watch Straight Outta Compton, you know they did that with Eazy-E, all their records. They sold a lot of records behind his back. But still, just to be on the historic Macola Records, man, I was like, "Hey, man, we're on Macola Records, man. We're stars." You know.
So the second record, did it go when it hit? That were you guys still with Macola, or where'd you guys go after
that? We started getting into
Posse on Broadway and all that was on Macola.
Yeah, actually, Square Dance Rap and Let's G was on Macola. When we started getting bigger, we started getting distribution through other distribution companies, and there are quite a few that are no longer around, called like MS. I don't even remember the names of them anymore, but you know, but yeah. So then after Posse on Broadway, we did a promotion with KDAY with our song called "Remember My Hoopty."
My Hoopty, yeah.
Song about my Hoopty. Yeah. So KDAY, we're giving away a Hoopty, and on the Hoopty you have one real tire with a Dayton's on it, you know, and then you win cash. But we tied it in with BET Rap City. So we got exposure on Rap City, and we gave away, you know, the car plus money and everything, and so we got a lot of exposure through that, and that record took off. And then Beepers kind of put the Bay Area on the map. Remember Beepers? Yeah. I was the guy in the video that played Sky Pager. And boy, I felt like a star, man. Like, yeah, I'm Sky Pager. Yeah, and yeah, that song. If you listen to the lyrics, man, it just put the Bay Area on the map, you know, for real. And it's a song everyone could relate to back then because Sky Pager was.
Everybody had a Sky Pager, yeah.
And everybody had a beeper, but Sky Pager was, if you're a baller, you were on Sky Pager, you know.
Yeah.
I wasn't a baller. Mix was a baller. He had Sky Pager. I just had the regular ones where you just had numbers on it. You know.
Do you think people do you think Mix-a-Lot is underrated as a writer?
You know what?
Because those were innovative
that's
songs.
What a lot of people
right
say.
There. All those songs you just named were before its time, and nobody had ever did that sound or even had that kind of conversation about or was rapping about stuff like that.
Yeah, he can write. He can write lyrics. Well, I mean, look what he did with "Baby Got Back." I mean, he's set for life with that song, you know. And I remember when we would go to the Bay Area all the time, and you know, him and the guys in the group, Maharaj and Kid Sensation, they like girls with a big, they call it backpacks, meaning their butts. You know, they love girl. And I was the only one that liked opposite. I like girls that look like Madonna, you know,
shout out
with
to
no butt.
We had Maserati.
Oh,
he gave us a shout out.
Oh, dope, man. So yeah, and I said, I bet you, if they did a song about that, I think it might be a big record. and you know, Mix ended up doing a song about big butts, and you know, I tested it on my radio show off our cassette player, and I said, man, I said, Mix, I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna be your biggest song ever, but you're never gonna have a song bigger than that because it's gonna be so big. And boy, he was so lucky to have a record like that.
So yeah, so somebody said he wrote, programmed, arranged, performed, and engineered all his own music. Is that true?
He did everything, man. I remember going to his house in the hood, man. He lived in the projects, and he like I said, when he introduced himself to me, he introduced himself as the computerized DJ, and I didn't know what that was because back then, 1983 or so, I didn't know what computers were, but he
Right.
knew what they were, and he just knew how to program drum machines. Matter of fact, he used to give me his old Dr. Rhythm SP1200. But you know, I was a DJ. I had no patience in learning it, so I gave it away. Now I wish I would have kept it. But man, I had no patience in learning how to work those drum machines.
You
I
doing
just knew
like
how to
this? You
play.
ain't doing like this.
No, man, I don't. I tried learning, but I could not figure it out, man. I just knew how to play vinyl. You know, count my beats per minute, and I could mix. I could mix more than I could scratch, but I was more of a mixer, and and I love breaking new music, man. And that's what I was
Where
kind of known for.
where'd your love of DJing come from? How young were you when you started DJing?
Well, yeah, I tell you, this is how I got into it. The guy who helped start Nasty Mix Records, Ed Locke, prior to all that, he was a radio DJ on a local station in Seattle, 1250 KYC, and it was just a coincidence that his sister was my hairdresser, and I would get my hair cut at their mom's house, and they lived with their mom, and I would hear him DJing upstairs playing records, and then I found out that he's the guy that was on the radio, and then we ended up becoming really good friends. And this is how I got in the radio. I didn't get in the radio because I wanted to be a DJ. I got in the radio because he said, hey, I tell you what, while you're here, you can answer the request lines. I go, all right, cool. I go, that's a it's a nice job. You get to play music you like listening to, get paid for it. And then on the request lines, boy, because you got to remember, I was only like 15 years old. And every call on the request line were females, man. And you know, my hormones were raging out of control at that age. I
Yeah.
said, yo, man, I'll never have to ask for a date. All I got to do is pick up the request lines and bam, I got a date. And that's what got me into it, you know, just a kind of a thought of picking up women over the over the request lines.
That's funny.
and yeah, and that's the honest truth. And then plus the love for music. I grew up, you know, ever since I was a kid because of my sister. She bought vinyl, and I grew up listening to, believe it or not, Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Carpenters, all that music I grew to love. To this day, I still listen to that stuff. I just love music. And then when I started when we moved to Seattle, you know, the song that changed my life with black R&B music was by the Shy Lights called "Old Girl." You know that song, Shy Lights, "Old Girl"?
Yes, sir.
That song changed my life completely. And
Wow.
after that, man, that's you know, I started loving music from the stylistics. You know, I don't like just rap. I love R&B. I love old school stuff. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and then one thing led to another, and then when Sugar Hill Gang came out, Curtis Blow, King Tim, all that came out, that's when I knew I loved this new form of style of music called rap. They didn't really call it hip hop back then; they called it rap music,
Right.
and that changed my whole life, man. I'm really blessed.
Wow. So how did the whole the skit on Easy E's radio come about, and how'd you end up making that happen? Because to be honest, that's when I actually heard your name and didn't realize who it was. At first I thought it was Dre, because you know Dre, he has different voices he does on the records, and you don't, you may or may not know it's him, but I just assumed it was Dre doing that. How'd you guys hook
No,
up
well,
and make that happen?
I first met Dr. Dre with Jerry Heller and DJ Yella when they were the World Class Wrecking Crew. And
Right.
they used to come to Seattle because I was the guy who played all their music on the radio. And we ended up performing in London at the Fresh Festival. It was really funny because it was a World Class Wrecking Crew, Sir Mix-a-Lot, and everyone else was all from New York East Coast groups. So we were the only West Coast groups. At the time, they had a big hit single in London called "The Fly" and "Turn Off the Lights." And we had
Yeah.
the song that was big for us. We were like one that was really called. So we became really good friends because we were the only ones on the airplane sitting way in the back while everyone was in the front, you know. And that's how I got to know him really well, and I got to become good friends with Arabian Prince. And through
Shout
that
out to Arabian
relationship,
Prince.
yeah, it was because of him I got. Well, he called me up. He goes, "Hey, Ness, man, I got this group. It's called NWA." I go, "What's that stand for?" He goes, "Niggas with an attitude." I go, "Whoa, are you serious?" Because back then, hearing that word is like, "Whoa, you sure?" How,
Right.
well, you go, "Yeah." He said, "It's gonna be something no one's ever heard before, and we're gonna make history with it." And he asked me if I would play the record on my show, and I said, "Well, I gotta, I got, I can't. It's so much foul language on it. I gotta edit it." So I went on the reel to reel and I edited all the words. I think the first record I played was
Say that
"Dope
again.
Man."
You edited on the what?
It was, yeah, like all you young kids don't know what a reel to reel.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, I went on the reel to. I spliced all. I even had I still had the original recording of my edits of it, where I flipped the word backwards. So I played it, and boy, man, I tell you, my request lines lit off the hook for NWA, and so they decided to come to Seattle and do a show in Seattle. They sold out 2 shows. All the records sold out, and they never forgot what I did for them. So in return, one day Arabian Prince called me out and he goes, "Hey, we have an artist named Eazy-E," because no one really knew who he was yet. Nationwide, no one really knew who he was. In L.A., he had a little following there, but not nationwide. And he goes, "How'd you like to be on this record?" And I go, "All right, cool. So he told me, okay, do it on this date, fly you up." Then what happened was Mix-a-Lot was on tour, on a tour with Public Enemy, EPMD, got a bunch of other groups. I go, "Oh man, I can't do it, man. I can't record it because I'm gonna be on the road with Mix-a-Lot." He goes, "Oh man," because I guess the part I was gonna do was Greg Mack's part, the beginning part. I go, you go, "Oh man, I really want to be on the record, but it's cool because no one really knew who Eazy-E was, so it wasn't really a big deal for me." But you know, so he goes, "Okay, I tell you what, we're gonna do this. Say these lines when you get to New Orleans. Call in your hotel. Call this number and just say these 3 lines."
Wow.
The answering machine, because back then they had answering machines. And he goes, "It's going to record your voice, and we're going to take that and put it on the record." So I said,
Wow.
"Okay, you sure? Just 3 lines?" I go, "Okay, where's that? Where's it gonna go?" He go, "Well, you're gonna be at the end of the record." I go, "Oh man, ain't no one gonna feel me if I'm at the end." Then go, but you know what? Raven Prince was such a cool guy, and so I ended up doing it. And you know what? Years later, man, I'm so happy and proud that I did it because that put me on the map right there, man. Even though
Yeah.
I didn't get any money for it because, like I said, I didn't know who he was back then. And if I would have known that he's going to become a legend and sell multi-platinum, I could be retiring right now.
For real.
But
For
just
real.
but just being on this record, that was such a compliment. And I'm like I wish my mom was around so I can tell my mom, "Hey, mom, look, I'm on Eazy-E's record radio."
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. A lot of people don't realize. I've had a couple conversations with Arabian Prince as well, and we had him on the show too. And I think a lot of people don't. I think his contribution is overlooked for what he did behind the scenes. And a lot of guys that were with Dre. I just talked to Krista Glove a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I know him.
And all those guys are just, you know, they were putting it down and making moves for just NWA, but a lot of people just see Dr. Dre and Eazy-E and, you know, NWA as part of what happened, but all those people behind the scenes, DJ Speed, Arabian Prince, all these people were really the ones that were making the moves to get them to where they needed to be, you know. So
oh yeah, because before NWA, you know, on my radio show, I was playing Uncle Jam's Army. I was playing Mixmaster Spade. I mean, you know, LA they were putting out some hardcore dope tracks back then.
yeah,
Before there was an NWA. So yeah, I remember the history, and I give much love and respect to Krista Glove. You know, all those guys, man.
yeah, yeah.
Sure. Rodney O. Oh man, Rodney O's one of my favorite. Even though he still owes me some money, but his music goes.
What do you owe you some money for?
And Joe, oh, trust me, he owes me some money. And Joe Cooley, man, Joe, you know, because they were on Nasty Mix. On one of their albums were on Nasty Mix Records. Get Ready to Roll, and this, I think this for the homies was on Nasty Mix, and I got to know both of them really, really well. I mean, you know, Rodney O and I've been down for a long time, but man, Joe Cooley, being a DJ, knowing Joe Cooley, it was like, wow, man, that's Joe Cooley.
Yeah. Another one is overlooked, man. One of the greatest, you know, one of the nicest DJs that ever did it, you know, just doesn't get as many props as he should. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. Seems like all those nice guys, man, get overlooked, man. But see, it's because of people like you that don't overlook us, and I truly appreciate you giving me the shine, the spotlight tonight, because you didn't have to do it. And, you know, I've been doing it for so long, and, you know, you help keep me relevant. And it's people like you, in my opinion, that keeps hip-hop alive, especially for the old school cats, man. You know, a lot of these young kids don't know who Joe Cooley is. You know, and man, that's one of the greatest DJs of all time.
Right. But I just feel like I need to, you know, you have to preserve the culture, you know what I mean? And everybody talks about New York artists and all these, you know, the bigger artists, but like I said before, guys like you, guys like Arabian Prince, all these dudes that were putting in the groundwork, playing those music, promoting all these artists, man. If it wasn't for you guys, it wouldn't be happening. You know, that's why I do it as well, because I like to give the shine to those guys that made it happen behind the scenes, that, you know, you got plaques back there and that, you know, all that's beautiful. But, you know, my kids don't know who you are, so they'll know who you are after this.
Well, you know, it's a trip that I want to share with you. Like, I remember when Ice Cube, he was so young with a Jerry curl, and when we were in New York at the hotel at the New Music Seminar, he would literally follow me around because he didn't know anybody, and he was kind of shy back then. Ice-T, he'd always come to me and go, "Hey, where's Mix? How's Mix?" Always ask me, "How's Mix?" And you know, I go, "Oh, he's doing good, man. How you doing?" You know, and he had a Darlene, you know, where all the guys was just like drooling over his lady, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because years later they became not just hip hop stars but movie stars. And I remember them when, you know, they you know, when they were just had nothing.
Right.
So I'm just saying, you know what, man, you know, my goal, I always wanted to be a movie or TV stars. I've been in a few things, but I want to be a movie star like them. So man, so my time will come, man. I know I'm going to be 60 years old, but even if I'm 70 years old and I become a movie star, I'm fine with that as long as it happens in my life because of hip hop.
Well, if I ever have something I'm doing video wise and I need you, I'm gonna definitely call you. But man, I need to come out there, man. I need to come up to Seattle and vibe with you, man, and
Well,
enjoy
you know, I'm
that
not in
culture,
Seattle, man. I live in LA, man.
You in LA?
That's where I live. I've been in LA since 1998, but I'm always in Seattle doing appearances every year. You know, I'm down from my hometown 24/7. But yeah, I live in LA, and one of the reasons why is because I want to get into film and acting, which opened, that's how I was able to be in. I was in House Party 4, I was in Kung Pao Enter the Fist, I was on an episode of ER, and I actually auditioned to be in the new Jennifer Lopez movie, but they picked someone else. But I still go to auditions and stuff. So
Yeah.
being an Asian, and don't hate on Asians. I think our time has come, man.
It's your time, man. It's your time. Trust me. Yeah. Hey, if everybody don't know, they need to recognize, because
Yeah.
it's going down, man. It's. We were looking at that last night, and I'm saying about how the black movement is going with the whole Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
I love
But
that.
a
Yeah.
lot of guys, a lot of people don't realize, if you look at television, how much the Asian community is being represented, how much they do behind the scenes, how much they do for just the culture or entertainment period. You know what I mean? And I think it's starting to get a lot more shine now. So I've seen television shows, it's all Asian. You know, Of course, we know a lot of them are in the music industry. So it's definitely your
Well,
time, man.
I tell you, I growing up as a kid, I had and still have two role models in my life that I looked up to. One was Muhammad Ali, not because he was just a boxer, but what he stood for, and another one was Bruce Lee. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but I was the youngest member of Bruce Lee's school when I was 13 years old up in Seattle. And I never really had a full-time father. So my martial art teacher, Taki Kimura, who
Oh,
recently passed away, he was my father. He was my second father, my mentor, my role
wow.
model, and everything, man. Yeah, yeah. So, you
Somebody
know,
said that in the comment, and I meant to mention it earlier when I saw it, but I want to come back
yes.
to that. That's an incredible story, man. That's crazy.
Well, like I said, man, I think everybody should have a mentor, a good, positive mentor, and you know how Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, Mr. Miyagi was Daniel's mentor and role model. My Shifu Taki Kimura, definitely. If I didn't have him in my life, boy, 'cause my mom couldn't control me.
Yeah.
I was going crazy, man. And my nickname used to be the Crazy Pinoy, the Crazy Filipino. But my martial art teacher, Sifu Taki, he really humbled me. He would share stories about Bruce Lee, and I just wanted to be just like Bruce Lee. And
Yeah.
but now, man, I want to be like Taki Kimura because he was such a humble, sweet, loving man. I mean, he'll kill you with one touch, man. But he's the nicest man in the world, and I miss him. He passed away at 96 years old, so he lived a long
Wow.
life, and he was the only guy. My mom, who was one of the strictest Filipino moms in the world, she only trusted me with him. So that says a lot.
Was you able to get a couple belts while
You
you
know
was in
what? We
school?
didn't we didn't use belts. No, we didn't use belts. You know what? I don't know. Bruce Lee once said when they asked him, "So what belt are you?" He goes, we don't have belts. I just use a belt to keep my pants up." We didn't do belts.
Is
But
it
but but I
is
did
that a
make.
more of an Americanized thing?
Well, taekwondo, karate, and that's cool to have that because it motivates kids, to strive, to become a red belt, brown belt, yellow belt. But we didn't have that at the John Fan Kung Fu Institute. How I knew I was getting up there was we had a beginner, intermediate, advanced, and a separate class on a separate night, and I went through all four of them, and yeah, so I guess if I had to say what belt I am, I would say I'm a quadruple, triple black belt.
They don't even make those.
So yeah, yeah. So don't get me mad because I know Chinese kung fu.
He said, don't mess with Ness, man. He know that shit, man. He know that shit.
That's right. That's right. You bastard.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Man, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been really
No
interesting
doubt.
talking to you, man. It's crazy.
Hey, we
I
can do
learned
it
it.
again. You know, we can do
Yeah.
it again in the future, man. You just let me know, man. You know, I did. You know, I gotta thank my man Jeff Kwan from BTP Media. You know,
Yes, sir.
for
Jeff
hooking
Quan,
this up.
BTP Media Group, Oakland, California, Bay Area in the building all the time. I see
I,
you out there.
I tell you, man, that guy is so supportive, man, and
Definitely.
he shows me so much love, man. And
Definitely.
you know, there's not many people like that. You know, you know, when you help people out and not expect anything in return, that's a true friend. You know,
Yes.
and he, you know, he helps me out. He shows me lots of love and never asks for anything in return. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
so
Definitely.
and
Same here.
that's how I know it's real, man. So Jeff, if you're watching, and I know you are, take a screenshot so I can keep this in my records. If you get a chance, take a screenshot. Because right now I'm in my best pose right now, and he looks like The Rock. So take the picture of The Rock and Bruce Lee. Ready? Go.
Ah. He said the Rock and Bruce Lee put together.
That's right, man. That's better than Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan.
uh,
Shoot.
man,
Yeah.
that's beautiful, man. Well,
All right,
we
man.
definitely gonna keep the dialect going, man, and we definitely gonna try to connect somehow. Now that I know that you're in LA, I definitely will be able to get to you because I'm in LA all the time. So definitely gonna
Well,
look you up.
bring some chicken and waffles. If you do that, I'll have my wife cook you some Filipino food. All
Oh,
right.
that's a bet. I'm with that.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Um, you know what? Real quick, my website is
Yeah,
rapattacklives.com.
yeah.
I want to just share with everybody. You know, I have hundreds of college radio DJs that report their records to me. You know, it's my way of keeping independent hip hop alive. You know, it's kind of like what Billboard is to pop music. Well, I
Right.
do that with hip hop, and I'm not
Oh,
talking
wow.
about tech. I'm not talking about what's that guy that with all tattoos on his face and he just got out of jail. I'm not talking about
Six
that
nine.
kind of hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, him. Not time pop, but the real hip hop. You
Right.
know, so go to rapattacklives.com. Also, if you want to hear me on the radio, I'm on every Sunday night with my DJ Grand Mixer GMS. We're on at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. You can hear us every Sunday night, 9 o'clock. And you know, I'm currently working with the High Children in Seattle, the High Children, and my artist JJ Hudson and DJ Third Degree. So I'm keeping, you know what, for a guy my age, man, I'm still keeping it real on the hip hop tip because hip hop saved my life and I'm still living it.
That's beautiful, man. Hey, I wanted to ask a quick question. I I never knew what it meant when he said you just said Rainier Records or Rainier. What is Rainier?
Oh, okay. Rainier's well, you know, our mountain. There's a mountain in Washington called Mount Rainier. We also have a beer called Rainier Beer, and then we have a street in Seattle, which is a popular street like what Broadway is in Seattle. It's called Rainier. Everyone goes down Rainier. So you know, it's just a popular area in Seattle,
Okay, okay.
Rainier.
Because
So
I heard him
Rainier
say we're
Avenue
rolling
Radio.
Rainier, and then I was like, what does that mean?
Oh yeah. So before we leave, I know you got to go on my social media, all right, and then I'll let you go. Okay, you
Yeah,
can
go
finish
ahead,
your
go ahead.
show.
We got as much time as you want to take, bro.
So on Facebook, see if I remember it. Facebook, it's at Nasty NES. That's NASTYNES. At Instagram, it's at nastiness818. NASTYNES 818, and on Twitter at nastiness1, NASTYNES with the numeric 1. So there's no two S's in Ness. I don't know why. Even on Easy Ease Radio, they spelled my name wrong, but that's okay. Just letting you
No,
know, it's
I
one
noticed
S
that too,
in
and then I
Ness.
looked at your page. I said it's not
Yeah,
spelled with
you
two
guys
S's.
spelled my name wrong. I'll remember that. That's all right. It's okay.
Man, I appreciate you
It's all
taking
love.
time out of your day, man, and joining us, man. It's definitely. Oh, there go Jeff right there. He said, good looking out. All right.
Hey man, that's my. You know what dim sum is?
Yeah.
When you come to LB, I got all eat dim sum. I love dim sum. If anybody out there wants to get on my good side, overnight me some dim sum, Chinese food, dim sum. No, seriously, you'll get on my good side. You send me some dim sum and
I'm gonna
chicken
send
and
you a
waffles,
box.
and we're good. Yeah. Oh no, you're gonna send me chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
All right. And if you're gonna mail me syrup, it has to be sugar-free syrup because I'm type 2 diabetic, so I gotta eat sugar-free syrup. But aside from that, I'm straight, man.
You got it. You got it. Man.
Okay, well, listen, man. They're premiering a new show. You remember David Carradine in Kung Fu back in the 70s? So there's a new one now, and it's premiering tonight. I think it's about to start in a few minutes on the CW channel called Kung Fu, except it's a female who plays the lead role.
Oh.
So I'm going to get off this interview, no disrespect, but, Kung Fu.
You're disturbing my Kung Fu.
Yeah, you're messing with my Kung Fu. All right?
Cali Made Radio, man. West Coast Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
DJ Nasty NES, man. I appreciate you joining me, man. Much love to you, bro.
Thank you, sir. I'm out of here, man. Peace, love, and hip-hop unity. Love you, man. Thank you so, so much. All right.
Thank you,
Peace.
man. Appreciate you.
All right.